Colbyjack.net is proud to present From the Flames by Trisha M. Wilson. The people of the fire, the Blesa, led by their queens, have ruled the island of Alfeyju and oppressed the Driva, the people of the ice, for more than 16 generations. With the Drivian King in hiding and little hope on the horizon, the Driva looked to one person to save them from the vile Blesa, the Diviana. According to legend, the divinely gifted Diviana will one day overthrow the Blesa and restore the Drivian King to his rightful throne. But with the search having lasted for more than 400 years, will the Diviana ever come to light? Willow is the slave of the Raskpil family. Bought at the age of 4, 20 years have passed since her life irrevocably changed. Her existence is no worse than any other slave, but within, Willow wonders if there isn't something more she should be doing with her life other than serving the ungrateful. Ordered to travel with her master's family to Sondertoft, so her master's adult children can take part in an ancient rite of passage, Willow is shocked when she learns that she too must participate. Will she fail, as all before her have? Will she rise to the challenge and become stronger after passing through the flames? Episode 92, Chapter 49, Rebirth. Hawk had barely slept, not that he'd expected to. The sorrow he felt, the unending thoughts flowing through his mind, and the guilt which almost built upon itself as every second passed, prevented the sweet oblivion sleep would have provided. Finally, having given up any pretense of sleep, Hawk walked toward the shore of the small lake, wishing he had had more time with Willow, more time to know her, more time to love her, more time. "Did you get any sleep?" Samuel asked, coming to stand next to him. "I don't know. It doesn't matter," Hawk answered, feeling hollow. What did sleep matter now that she was gone? "My men should be here in a little while. Then we can begin making our plans," Samuel said. "How can you be so focused, considering?" "I have to be. For you, for my men. What's happened is devastating, and I feel the grief to my bones, but I also feel a burning need to get revenge. Don't you feel it?" Whatever Hawk was going to say suddenly left his mind. The sun, which had been creeping towards rising for a while now, had suddenly crested over the land, its first rays showering the earth. But that's not what made Hawk forget his words. It was the sudden wind which carried leaves to the lake, to the very center of the lake. Something made him watch those leaves. "What's wrong?" Hawk didn't answer, his eyes still trained on the leaves, now forming a tall cylinder on top of the water. Before his eyes, there seemed to be something forming within the leaf cylinder. "Do you see?" Hawk asked, unable to finish his sentence. Even if he'd been able to, he didn't even know what he'd have said. The sun, which had been shining seconds ago, was suddenly covered by clouds darker than death, and the lake's water became covered with ice. The cylinder of leaves then collapsed, leaving a figure behind. A familiar figure, at least to Hawk's eye. Samuel breathed, "Is that?" The figure walked upon the ice toward Hawk, Samuel, and the crowd of Samuel's men who'd come behind them. As the figure came closer, Hawk could gradually make out its features better. It was Willow, his Willow. She looked a little different, but he didn't care about that. She was back. She was alive. Willow walked upon the newly formed ice beneath her feet toward the small group of people grouped upon one of the shores. She couldn't tell who they were, but she wasn't worried. Now that she knew who she really was, and what Nerthus and Astrid had been trying to tell her at the very end of their conversation, there was nothing that could scare her. As she got closer, she was able to clearly make out the two people in front of the group. It was Samuel, and next to him was a very tired and haggard Hawk. "He must have been so worried about me," she thought, her steps coming more quickly. "He thought you were dead," Val said. "Who wouldn't be sad if they thought their love was dead?" She ignored him, more intent on getting to Hawk, who looked shell-shocked. The second she stepped off the ice, it disappeared, turning back into water. A second later, Hawk was holding her so tight she thought he'd crack a rib. "Willow! Willow!" he murmured over and over again, kissing every inch of her face and neck he could reach. "Are you really here? Or am I dreaming?" "My love, I am here," she said, returning his hug and kisses. Even though she'd only been gone a few hours, it felt like much longer, as if an eternity or two had passed since she'd been in his arms or felt his love. "How is this possible?" Samuel exclaimed, drawing Willow and Hawk's attention back to the present. "The hows are not important. What is important is what information you have about that traitor, Aluak." "What news do you have?" Willow asked, taking Val from one of the sacred guard. "My men shall be here soon with news. Come and eat. Tell us of your journey," Samuel said, leading them toward the campfire, which was beginning to die out. "But Willow, you just returned," Hawk protested, his arm still firmly wrapped around her waist. "We don't need to worry about Aluak yet. We should—" "Hush, love. I need to take that traitor down before he does any more damage," she said, brushing her fingers gently over Hawk's lips. "We'll have plenty of time to catch up after this is done." Her eyes still on Hawk, willing him to understand, she casually waved Val at the fire, reigniting it. The flare of the fire drew Hawk's eyes away from her for a split second before he looked back at her and said, "Did you do that?" "Yes. Much has changed, but I'm still the same person. Let us sit and talk about what has happened during my absence." Samuel, Hawk, Willow, and Adelina, who joined the group only a minute after Willow had reappeared, sat around the fire. "What did you do to your hair?" Samuel asked, passing her food. "My hair?" Willow grabbed a lock and looked at it. Instead of the brown she'd lived with for 24 years, it now had the purple, blue, and red highlights it had acquired while she had been dead. "Oh, my hair. It's a long story. Tell me everything that's happened." Hawk and Samuel were almost done filling Willow in when two of Samuel's men returned from Eldarin. The second they saw Willow, they stopped in their tracks, fear and shock going through their bodies. "Have no fear," Samuel said soothingly. "Mistress Willow has come back to us. Sit and tell us the news you have gathered." The men moved toward the open area next to the fire, keeping their eyes on Willow as they went, as if they were scared she'd disappear or attack them if they looked away for even a second. Once settled, the first man said, "We left a few men behind so they could gather more information if needed." Samuel and Willow nodded in approval. "What is going on with Aluak and his men? What are they saying?" Willow asked. "Aluak has openly declared himself king and will make an official announcement this very afternoon. His men are spreading the tale amongst the people of Eldarin of how he defeated their queen single-handedly. He fails to mention that it was in fact Mistress Willow who slayed the queen after saving his life." "Despicable! Only a greedy, selfish bastard would take the credit for what you did," Hawk snarled. The men who were listening made equally disgusted noises, showing their solidarity with Hawk at how they felt of Aluak's actions. "Yes, well, we found out that that's what he is, didn't we?" Willow asked dryly. "He has Lord Alvis and Queen Silverland's bodies on display in the town square, so anyone who chooses to can look upon them, curse at them, or even spit upon them," the second man said, sounding a little disgusted. "Has the man no respect for the dead?" Samuel asked. "Even the worst of men and women deserve a little decency after they've passed on." "He respects no one," the first man said. "He does have a few men assigned to guard the bodies, but they aren't stopping some of the people from doing unspeakable things. At times, they're even participating in the acts. It was quite sickening to witness." "Apart from this, what else did you learn? What is he saying about me?" Willow asked. The two men looked at each other as if not knowing how to say what they'd learned. "Speak," Hawk commanded. "Mistress, as to you, we have learned that King Aluak has told people that you were killed by Queen Silverland before he could kill her," the second man said. "He paints a pretty tale," the first man said grimly. "He's telling the people that he was fighting with someone else when he saw you fall at the Queen's hand." Overcome with rage and grief, he ran over and killed the queen. He then claims that you made him promise that he would become king. Your body is supposedly being kept in the palace under lock and key. There's supposed to be a private funeral for you after his announcement today. He's using your death as the benediction to him crowning himself king immediately and knighting Rokia and Kalina as his chief advisors and seconds in command. Kalina? Hawk asked, as if only now realizing that she wasn't here with them, nor had she tried to find them. She's with him? Yes, the first man said. A short time after the queen's defeat, a few of our men observed her meeting with King Aluak. They were cloistered in the queen's study for quite a while before they split up. She then went to find Master Hawk, while he went to the throne room waiting for Mistress Willow. Knowing what really happened, we believe they worked together to separate you two so Master Hawk wouldn't be able to stop the king. That's what happened, Hawk cried, and I fell for it. I knew there was something weird going on with Kalina, but I shrugged it off. I was too happy to really care. Why didn't I pay better attention? Because you weren't meant to, Willow said gently. What happened needed to happen. Why did it? Why did you need to die? Hawk asked, sounding impatient all of a sudden. I, for one, could have lived my life without you dying. Do you know how I felt when I thought I'd lost you forever? Like I wanted to die. At least after I'd killed that bastard. But I wanted to die myself. I know you were grieving, and I'm sorry I had to put you through that. But it's not like Aluak gave me any choice, did he? I didn't ask for him to kill me. I just wasn't prepared for it as I should have been. But I had a talk with the two sorceresses, and they explained a few things to me which makes what happened tolerable, if not completely acceptable. What did they tell you? Samuel asked, looking intrigued. Willow felt the weight of the group's eyes on her. All of the sacred guard looked equally interested in what she had to say. Could we have some privacy, please? She asked the men. They grunted and looked disappointed, but on the whole they moved away from her, Hawk, and Samuel without too much trouble. Waiting until they were far enough away so they wouldn't be able to hear her words, she lowered her voice and said, What I'm about to say must never leave the three of us, understand? Hawk and Samuel nodded. As I've said, my death needed to happen because, for one, the mist of Caliva foretold it. But there is another more important reason. When I was dead, I talked to the sorceresses, and they told me that I'm special. Special how? Samuel asked. I'm what you could call the human equivalent of a phoenix. A phoenix? You mean that mythical bird? Hawk asked. But then that means you're immortal, she said, finishing a sentence. My death and my rebirth on this morning completed the cycle which started when I was first born. Now if I die, I can be reborn whenever I want. It's a choice I have. Along with the completion of this cycle, I have new powers, which will help us defeat Aluak. But if you're immortal, what about us? Hawk asked, looking happy and distressed at the same time. Willow leaned toward him and whispered into his ear, Don't worry about us. I have a plan. I'll explain after this mess with Aluak is finished. Trust me, please. I'll always trust you, he said. Good. Willow pulled back and looked up toward the sky. There were still clouds in the sky, preventing the light from the sun touching the earth. The weather is perfect for what I have in mind. What do you have in mind? Samuel asked as he and Hawk looked up to see what she was talking about. That is my secret. Let's just say that it will get everyone's attention. You and Hawk will be by my side, except for one bit, where I need Hawk to run a little errand for me. But here's what I want your men to do. I want them to. You have been listening to From the Flames by Trisha M. Wilson. Read, recorded, mastered, encoded, and produced by Colbyjack. This work is released under a Creative Commons 3.0 Attribution, Non-Commercial, Share-alike license. Do what you want with it, just don't try to profit from it. Heaven knows we can't. If you have any questions, comments, or rants you wish to share with us, we can be reached at Colbyjack.net. That's COLBYTRAX @COLBYJACK.net. Yep, I sing it too. If you want to follow the exploits of Trisha in Twitterland, just search for Lady Trisha W on Twitter, or follow the ever-dashing, courageous, hardworking, intelligent, and immensely humble Colbyjack on the Twitters as well. If you find that you can't just wait to find out what will happen with Willow, the strong dude and the annoying dude, be heartened to know that From the Flames is available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Smashwords, as well as from our little shop. Didn't you know about our little shop? Why, yes, we have a little shop located at shop. That's shop.colbyjack.net. That's shop.colbyjack.net. Yeah, real original there. There you will find the latest ebook versions of all our works in both Mobi and ebook, all DRM-free, as well as audiobook versions of such works as Firmware Hijacked and Proxy, as well, naturally, as well as From the Flames. The audiobooks differ from the podcasts in that the headers and bumpers only run once, and the episodes are grouped in hour-long episodes for easy burning to CD or for downloading on the go. If you find you don't need any stuff, but just want to thank us monetarily for our efforts here, just head on over to Colbyjack.net, select either audio or visual, and look for the donate button located on the blog roll. Well, anyway, thank you for listening, have a wonderful week, and remember to be fabulous.